Okay. All right.
All
So
right.
we are now recording, right? So you guys that have joined us before, welcome back. It's always great to see family. We're building a little community here, right?
Yeah.
But we are Team Transformation, right? So my name is Aria. So I'll go ahead and introduce myself. And of course, I am not only just a woman who is on a mission, but I happen to be on this mission with two of my favorite people on earth. My identical twin sister, Dejan, who you see above me, and our mom, Sonia. We are entrepreneurs, we are business owners, we're bloggers, we are this crazy lady team, but crazy in a good way, right? Um,
Crazy in a good way.
Crazy in a good way, working really hard together, really just trying to make transformations happen, and not only in our lives, but really celebrating transformations in other people's lives at any stage and at any age,
That's
bringing
right.
tools and tricks and everything that you need to really take your business to the next level. That's why we have Hack Your Hustle. So here you are on our Thursday night show. We're here every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m., really bringing you the best of the best that we've at least found to take your hustle and hack it online. That's it
Exactly.
in a nutshell.
That is
Why
it.
don't
That's
we
it.
talk a little bit about just maybe a quick roundtable about where people can find us? Because I know that a lot of people on have seen one of us and not seen all of us together, or they've caught two of us and not seen all three of us. So, Dejan, why don't you just kind of like speak a little bit to that?
Okay, great. I'll start and I'll just let everybody kind of like wrap around and tell what they do. But like Aria said, we're a three-woman team. And so basically we say that we kind of divide our efforts into our own individual tribes of people.
Right.
And so, as a whole, we always tell business owners and people with a passion, we show them all these tools and tips that they can use to live life on their terms. That's what it comes down to, right? We're all proponents for people figuring out ways to do what they want, when they want, and how they want to do it.
That's right.
But when we hone in and really get specific, my tribe of people, the people that I'm passionate about helping, are artists, other creatives. I'm an artist, been one my whole life. My background's in set
Mhm.
design for film and television, and I have always had that entrepreneurial spirit and that hustle, if you will. And so I know what it's like to eat, sleep, and breathe and make money and make full time income off of your creativity. And I want that same possibility for all of the creatives that are out there, anybody that wants it. I don't want anybody doing something that really they weren't designed to do. So that's my tribe of people. I talk to creatives and really hone in and show them how to, spread their passion, make money online, make money with their art, so that they can live on purpose. And so that's me. And I'll toss it over to mom.
Okay, great, great. Well, you know what? I generally talk to people who are looking to make a change because I believe that, that anybody can make a change at any stage and at any age in their life. I don't care if you're 16 years old or 26 years old, 36 or 66 years old. You can make the change that you want to make. My profession has been human resources for most of my life. I've directed human resources teams for some fairly large corporations in the Washington D.C. metro area. I own a staffing firm as well, and so seeing change in terms of career is absolutely possible. My tribe of people that I like to talk to are people who want to step away from corporate America. Why? Because I've done it, I believe in it, and I know that anybody can do it. Again, if you want to make that change, it's possible. My other tribe of people are network marketers who have really reached the end of their rope and don't quite understand how to market online. And so we are here, or I'm here to help give you the tools and the tricks that you need to hack that hustle as well, so that you can learn how to market online and really take your network marketing opportunity all the way as far as you want to take it and expand that. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Awesome.
There you go. So, you guys, since everybody's talking about their tribe, right? I will tell you that I belong to a tribe of educators and community change agents, right? That's who I am, and it's who I've been for quite a while. I really built and launched my career in education and school reform as a New York City school leader, really just hoping to pump transformation into young people, into families, into communities. It's what I love, and I'm a risk taker. So not only do I challenge students, right, as far as um, just that day to day living and exploring is concerned, but I've always had a passion for business. I've always been an entrepreneur. I grew up with this lady up here, right? And so I've always had my hands in a lot of pots. And so what I learn, I always pass on to others. Every day, I run a segment called Word on the Street, and I talk to people who just want to learn a new word every day that's going to help enhance their business, much like what I did for kids forever. So, you guys, that's what I'm about in a nutshell. Educators are change makers every single day, and there's no way that they should resist the urge to be change makers in their own life, for their own families, and for their own businesses.
Love it. So Aria, a lot of times you can catch her in case anybody out here is an educator. She does a lot of great segments and teaches educators how to monetize their skills outside of the classroom. So I think she has one coming up this Saturday. Actually, she can catch on
Yep,
Periscope.
I do.
And I know she'll be blogging about it. So it's that time where people are looking for what they're going to do over the summer. So just wanted to throw
That's
that plug
right.
out there for you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, guys. So look, let's kick off tonight's topic. All right. Home business blues. Okay. Can everybody identify with that term? Give me some props. This is how Blab
Yes.
works, by the way. All right. The little hands that are in the bottom of the screen, the bottom right hand corner, those two little hands like this, those are props. Okay. It's like a heart
Hold it
on,
up.
on Periscope. Right. Exactly. So throw up the
Right.
props, and that lets us know that you're engaged, that you're getting the content, and that you're kind of like shaking your head with us, right? So the second thing you can do, if you have a question, just type in \Q into the chat, and then your question will come up. Like you can type your question, and it'll come up on the left hand side. So me as a moderator, I'll be able to see it and acknowledge you a lot quicker. And if you can't remember any of that, just type something on the right hand side, and one of us will grab it. So exactly. So you guys can
I
probably
was just testing it.
awesome. There you go. So your question comes up, right? I see it on the left hand side. I see that it says testing, and then I'm able to like answer your question and address you. So \Q. That's how everybody can ask questions. And we're really open and friendly and just kind of chill, guys. So we're just laying out the information and giving you guys the truth as we know it. And we hope that you guys are able to pick up these nuggets, and hopefully it will help you succeed in your business or just in life. So here we go.
Dejan, can I say one other
Yeah,
thing
sure.
before we dive in? If anybody hasn't taken an opportunity to share this scope, please make scope. Look at me. Man, I'm on Blab. I'm not on Scope. Right? If you haven't taken the opportunity to share this Blab, please share with your networks. And those of you who, have seen us before, you guys know that we are familypreneurs. So I just want to say that if you have a sister, an aunt, a cousin that you've been saying, we need to go into business together, maybe you want to get them on with us to show them there is proof it can be done, right?
Exactly.
And so maybe you want to call them and be like, you need to get on right now. And you can walk them through it, even if it's their first time, right as we get started. So share with your networks, okay?
Definitely.
That's
Great
good.
point.
Thanks for remembering that, Ria.
So, okay, we can all identify with home business blues, or else we wouldn't be on here right now, right? I know you guys would not have joined us if you were not relating in some way, okay? So, really, what's the solution when we're feeling blah? And so what I mean by that, let me just give you a couple examples. The times where that you should be doing something towards the success of your business, right? Something, and it's going to be different for each business, right? But if you should be doing something figuring out how you're going to market, if you should be making marketing materials, I don't know, maybe you should be doing some kind of like Facebook activity or Instagram activity. Maybe you should be listening to some trainings, right? Whatever it is, right? If you just kind of are like, I'm not doing it, I just can't do it today because I've just done like laundry and, I have to clean my house and I have kids running around and it's busy, And so if you have experienced that this week, like I have, then, give me some props on that if you understand how that can kind of be a factor of you being a business owner,
Yes.
right?
Definitely.
Getting some props. So you guys have all been there. I know you two have, right? Because we're in business together and
No doubt about it.
Yes.
super close. So I know it can get really hectic. And look, Aria and I, right, we're two people that we don't have kids, right? So it can still get busy. So even if you don't have the responsibility of like children and a husband, I mean, life still happens. Life happens to everybody, okay? So it can get a little bit crazy.
No doubt about it.
The second thing that I know that really can happen is a lot of times people lose excitement. You lose excitement for your business sometimes. And again, it's
Right.
like, it's not your fault. All right. Don't feel bad about it. It's not that, you're such a terrible person. You're not even excited about what you said you were so excited about at one point. it's life again, right? So I'm going to read my notes just to make sure that I'm hitting everything. But it's life, right? And sometimes you can lose that excitement even after just taking like a few days off. Maybe you take time off on the weekends to like spend time with your family, and that's your home business days off, right? Or maybe you do take like a vacation or something, and you're kind of trying to relax for a few days. Sometimes it's a little hard to maybe remember where you left off at. Yeah,
Left
if
off.
you're doing so much in your business, especially at the very beginning stages, if you're trying to just get all of these things to work, and trying to jumpstart all these different components, you're just like, where
Right.
did I even stop? I can't even catch up because I don't remember where I left off, right? And so that happens, and then therefore you're just like, okay, great, and then you lose your steam, right? You lose that enthusiasm that you finished the week off with. So we want to talk about the cure for a lot of these things. I see the props, so thank you so much. I definitely know that you guys are like, yes, that's me. I can invisibly see you at home being like, yes, I get that, right? And so we've been there. And again, the information that we're sharing tonight, you guys, I'm telling you right now, it's not rocket science. I'm not about to drop some like huge equation that you've probably never ever heard of before. What I'm going to do is just kind of restate some of the answers. And maybe it's not that it's just novel. Maybe you just haven't heard it in a while. Okay. So let's jump into this cure, right? So like, what do we do? There's a few different things um, that we have to do when we are in that blah space, right? Because we know that that blah space is preventing us from that massive success that we really want to see, right?
Right.
That blah feeling is preventing you from signing up reps into your business. It's probably preventing you from
Right.
making the sales that you could make. And it's probably preventing you from being that leader that you want to be because you're not doing anything, right? You're just feeling unmotivated. So if those three things are
Right.
happening, then that's like the perfect storm for like a business to fail.
Mm-hmm. That's so true.
Right. And so we don't want that to be a part of your life at all because you got into business for yourself so that you could not experience, failure, so that you could experience life on your terms. So you could not experience, that feeling of getting up in the morning and being like, oh my gosh, I do not want to go to this job. It's cold. It's raining. I have to go report to some boss that I don't even want to look at. I have to have chit chat with coworkers that I'm really not feeling talking to.
Right.
We've all
We've
been there,
all
right?
been
So those are the
there.
reasons why you got involved in the first place, right? What's up, Pamela? Hey, hey, hey. Glad to see you on with us. So remember, those are the reasons that you got involved, all right? So, we can't have anything going on right now that's going to drag you down and bring you back to that same negative space, okay? So, all right,
Right.
guys. What are something that we can do about it, okay? Let's talk about this one thing. This is actually could be like a really helpful tool for you guys to start recognizing when you feel that way, right? When you feel blah, when you're feeling unmotivated, when you're feeling like something's preventing you from just getting up and going to that laptop and doing what you need to do, right? When you feel that, acknowledge it, okay? Even if you just write it down. Like I like to carry around those little moleskin notebooks, because they fit in your purse. You can put them maybe in your back pocket, whatever works for you. Even if you keep notes on your phone, maybe acknowledge when you feel that way, okay? And no, it's not going to cure anything, but what it's going to do is help you recognize like your habits, okay? It's going to help you recognize maybe some of those like self-limiting beliefs that you're telling yourself when you are feeling that unmotivated feeling or that blah feeling. So just for example, you might be telling yourself or feeling like I don't even deserve to like be that successful, right? Or if because I don't know what's
Right.
happened in your past. Everybody's coming from a different point of view, right? So if you're telling yourself that you don't deserve, huge massive success because of whatever has happened in your past, whatever missteps maybe have occurred, maybe some mismanagement of opportunities or mismanagement of funds or whatever it is, if you're subconsciously telling yourself that, that may be one thing that's preventing you from getting up and doing all the steps necessary for you to see that huge success. Does that
Mm-hmm.
make sense?
Absolutely, it
Right.
does. Sure.
Absolutely. And it's funny, sometimes we tell ourselves these things without using those
Right.
exact words, right? There are other like self-defeating thoughts that sound a lot like that, right? Or there are other people's voices that somehow we validate without saying out loud, yes, you're right about me. but somehow our spirit validates that when we have people who are sharing those thoughts
Exactly.
about us just in our circles, right? Or like,
And
why do you
guys,
keep
just to
trying
let
that
you
thing?
guys know for sure, we're going to open up the hot seat a little bit later. So keep the hearts coming. The hearts, Periscope talk again, right? Keep the props coming in. I'm paying attention to the sidelines. Do /Q if you guys have a question, but we will open it back up. So thank you guys for all being on. I love it. I love the communication. And there's some great people in the room. A lot of people we know because we've been on together before. And like Ria said, we are this little community that's growing.
Right.
So make sure that you're following the other people in this room because there's a lot of good people here. Okay, so right, so self-limiting belief, right? Journal, okay, journal what is happening when you're starting to have these feelings. It's almost like a food diary, you know, when people are like, okay, when you want to change your eating habits, when you're writing down, when are you eating that ice cream? When are you eating that like candy bar? Is it when you're feeling stressed? Is it when you're feeling depressed? You know, when is it? Okay. Here's another thing, okay? And you can write this in the same journal also, all right? Figure out what motivates you, okay? So, you know, for me and for a lot of people I know, it's like sometimes past situations that they've been in, and that motivates them to keep moving forward, right? Because maybe you've been through some things that you know you want to avoid in the future, okay? So maybe you've been in situations or been in relationships where you're like, hey, I don't have the upper hand because I'm unable to make like financial decisions for myself, right? And so that could be a big motivator to say, no, that's why I am like, have to get up and do this thing, whatever that thing is for you in your business. That's what's motivating you and driving you to get up and do something because you don't want to be in some of those places that you've been before, right? So hopefully that's making sense, right?
It is.
Absolutely. Like you don't want to relive the past, right? And so some of us can learn once from one bad experience or uncomfortable place we've been, and we're like, never going back
And
there,
thank you guys
right?
for sharing on the side.
Whether
Business,
it be in
yeah,
business or
whatever it
relationships,
is, right? And so the thing is, you know that at one point you got involved with whatever you got involved with so that you could be in control of your life, most likely, so that you could make different decisions for yourself and for your family. So think about all of that.
Without asking if it's okay.
Mom, you look like you want to say something, so I'm going to let you add to it.
Yeah, you know what? I almost didn't want to go backwards, but I'm going to take you back to your first point of writing these things down, and kind of journaling it and keeping a diary. I think the first point is that you really have to know yourself and be aware. And sometimes when you wake up in the morning, you know, if you feel that you're going through a slump, you actually have to mentally set your mind to say, I'm going to be aware of how I feel every day, because you can get in a rut and your mind can say, you know, this is just what it is. It's okay to say, you know, I'm going through something. I'm in a rut, but you really have to mentally set your mind to say, I'm going to wake up every morning with purpose. And maybe one of your purposes should be to be aware of where your mind is that day. Because you can really get up and just go through that day. And the next thing you know, you realize it's 7:00 p.m., it's 10:00 p.m. And I really have just kind of, you know, as one of my younger daughters says, I've kind of been a sloth all day. I haven't done much, you know, and that's okay because I just felt a little But if you can set that mindset at, you know, the moment you wake up, then you can say to yourself, okay, I don't feel really energized. I don't feel really good. I don't feel like I can go out and conquer the world. Then at that point, when you're able to journalize that, then at that point you have to say, okay, now maybe it's time to take some steps to do something about it. So it's not always as easy as just saying journalize it. You really have to have a mindset to say, I'm going to recognize my feelings every day. Because your feelings could be, I feel really good today, but you have to know that good feeling to be able to recognize that blah feeling. That makes sense.
I love that. Yeah, that makes total sense. Right, that makes total sense. So I can see from the comments that you are definitely getting some love on that comment, and people are recognizing it.
Right, so, and I love that cognitive behavioral therapy for yourself. That's exactly what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ria's throwing a question out there. She said that. Mom, Sonia Coppage, she said that she's breaking up.
Am I?
Not for me. You're totally fine for me. Is anybody else experiencing like delay or
Can
breakup.
you hear me?
I hear you fine.
I can hear you, Ria, but I can't see you. Yeah, and so Albert Kaufman saying the same thing. Ria, we lost your picture, but we can hear you. So
Okay.
awesome. And I'm just
Let's
gonna
see what
give
I
this
can.
time since Ria's getting her visual back up. Majestic Elements just joined. So what's up, Majestic Elements? Glad to have you in the room. I also saw Dennis Butler jump on. So again, good to have familiar faces and names from Periscope and from here on Blab in the room. So hope all is well. It's been a long time since I've seen you, lady, but I hope that you are, living life on purpose and feeling inspired and good today. So, all right. So Ria's jumping back in, and let's pick this back up. All right. So we'll keep it going. We won't keep you too long tonight, guys. Um, just maybe this is piggybacking on like what my mom was just saying a little bit. This is one thing that you have to recognize. And we're speaking to home business owners. Okay. So if you are leading a team of people and, you know that that's one way that you're able to see success in your home business, right? So I don't want to, let's just say if you're in network marketing, okay? If you're in network marketing, there's two ways that you're going to grow, right? That's from building your team, right? And that means that you're going to have a downline, you're going to have people looking to you for leadership, or you're going to like sell products, right? Or whatever it is that you have to offer. So that's a given. People that are just in another home-based business, right? People, I'm sure that you're doing it. I'm sure that people are seeing you and you want to continue to stand out as an authority in whatever it is that you are working in, right? So all across the board, everybody has to realize that motivation definitely comes from within, okay? So motivation comes from within you, right? Okay, so you have to do something. If you want to inspire your team, if you want to have other people take action, then you have to actually do something, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if anybody's been a leader and you're just wondering, like, why in the world won't these people that are on my team act? What makes them like give up so easily? What makes them, not push as hard? Because sometimes, again, if you're a leader and you're counting on the efforts of your team below you, that can be one thing that kind of gets you unexcited about your business. It can be something that unmotivates you because you have a whole team of people that you're looking to do, big things so that you can continue to grow. It's like their success is your success. But if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, let's recognize that that could be a reason why sometimes you feel a little bit blah about your business, right? Okay.
That's true.
So, recognize that, don't be dejected by it. It happens, right? People are people. People are going to join you in business. People are going to buy products, or they're not, right? You have to just be in constant motion. And the more that you're doing, the more those people below you, your team, will actually see you doing, and they're going to get motivated by you. Okay.
Yeah, that energy is definitely contagious. And some people really need those external motivators, right? And I would say most people do, actually. The intrinsic motivation is something that is not always there, even for adults, right?
Totally, totally, totally. And so I'm just seeing another. Oh, I love that. Maybe I'm late on seeing this. Albert Kaufman says, "How'd you all get to be so awesome? I'm happy for the reunion." Thank you for that. I'm just seeing it. But yeah, so Ria, you're dead on. You are so right. So again, motivation comes from within. If you want to get people to lead, you want to get people motivated, you got to be there yourself, right? So even when you don't want
That's
to, you
right.
just have to push yourself. And we already talked about, if you are having trouble pushing yourself, think about what motivated you to be that business owner. Okay? Think about those situations that you don't want to be in anymore. And that's going to get you up off
That's
that
right.
couch. That's going to get you out of the bed. Okay? That's going to get you to come home and like work that extra hour, or 2 hours after your kids go to bed or after you spent time with your significant other, right? That's what's going to motivate you to get into that action mode. And so that kind of segues into my next point, guys, and it has to do with people. All right. So everybody give me props if you know at least two other people.
You know at least two other people. Yes.
Okay. So everybody in the room knows at least two other people, right? So let's ask ourselves this question, right? Are those two other people that you know, are they smarter than you? Are they more motivated than you? Are they more inspired than you? Are they having more success than you? Okay. So ask yourself those questions because I'm telling you, those are the people that you want to hang around, right? You want to hang around people that are better than you. Why?
If the answer is yes, right.
Right. You want to hang around people that are better than you. Well, no, if the answer is no, then that means you got to grow your circle. You got to know more than two people,
That's right.
You can
Absolutely.
That's right.
Still know those two people, but you have to actually, spend time being influenced by people that are achieving the things that you want to achieve. All right.
And that's
because
it.
Those
are they where you want to be?
Exactly. They're where you want to be. They're going to motivate you to be like, okay, I'm stretching. I'm still, I still got to get where you're going. They're going to be the ones that are like speaking a language that's going to be about success. That's going to be positive. That's going to keep you in the game, right?
The influence is what it's about. They will influence you because if you're with them and you're hanging around them, things start to change. The action changes, the conversation changes, the way you walk changes, the way you think changes. All of that internal stuff within yourself begins to change. You become who you hang around. I mean, that little saying is not just there to be meaningless. It really is true. And I truly believe that you are who you hang around. So if you want to be that X factor, whatever that X is, then begin to surround yourself with it, and you will eventually become that. It's just the way it is.
And just for clarification for Albert Kaufman, I don't mean better than you as in like on a human level, right? So obviously we're all, I'm no better than my neighbor. I'm no better than the man down the street or the man on the corner, that's our firm belief. But if I have a particular skill, there are better, when I was growing up and, working on, becoming a set designer or whatever else, I know that there's better designers than me. And so I might as well hang out with them so that they can rub off, on me. I can learn something, rather than keeping me, rather than hanging around people that are in that mediocre mode, or people that still are trying to achieve just where I am. Because I'm like, wait, I know that I'm not at like any kind of like major height. There's still something else that's, higher and higher. So I guess that's what I mean by better, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking of two things, if I can jump in, of just lessons, right, that we learned growing up. And I think of two things that Dad and our grandfather would say to us, right? And so our grandfather is like, I don't know what he would think about this, but he's like a total nerd, right? He is an engineer. He does Sudoku puzzles all day. He devours them. He does math problems for fun as an old man. Does he not?
It's true.
Lying, right? But it's like he's a nerd in the best ways. He was the grandfather that could help you figure out science projects and really help you investigate anything at all, right, that you were interested in. He would chop rocks open for me because I really wanted to see what the inside of rocks look like.
Yeah.
And we spent like a whole summer doing that one time. But I only bring him up because he would always say, like, don't forget, Aria, there's always someone smarter. There's always someone better. And that would be like if I ever got like a big head, which I was prone to do, and I'd be like, I'm the best. And he would always remind me that there's like always someone who is going to be better at something than I was, right? And then Dad used to tell me to make sure that I was surrounding myself with people who could show me something, because I was a big like, I can show you this or I can show you that, or wait till I, teach you this thing. And I was always like this big teacher forever, right? Always wanting to lead. And then my dad used to slow me down, especially like in my young 20s. And he used to say, make sure you're hanging out with people who can show you something new, right? You can't always be showing everyone else something. And so those are two lessons that I think we've been able to apply to our business, and it's worked out really well and kept us striving.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a great point. And so, yeah, that's, that definitely is a great way to end it. Hanging around people that can show you something, right? People that have an interest in your success, right? And people that are always growing, right? Because we never stop, right? So, hey guys, for everybody else that's new that jumped in the room, Tora, I saw you jump in. Thanks so much for joining us again. And again, guys, if you're watching this and you haven't yet shared, take an opportunity to share. And again, we just appreciate the love. So hang out with us for a little bit longer and we'll wrap this up. Okay. So here we go.
Can I add something to that, Dejan?
Of course.
I just want to add something really, really simple. And that is this: I think it's really important to remember too that when when we talk about hanging around people who can teach you something or people who have something that you might not have, when you think about stature and you think about a ladder and you think about levels and all of that, it doesn't always mean that that person has to be above you in terms of title or in terms of what they have and that sort of thing. You can learn the most, you can learn some of the best things and the best lessons from people who have not yet reached where you are in terms of stature or in terms of financial ability. Sometimes people will say that, the smallest things, and you can take the biggest lesson from that. And it's amazing. It has always amazed me because you never know what walk somebody is coming from. You never know where they've been, what they've experienced. And sometimes they just say something and you're just baffled, almost dumbfounded, where you're like, oh my gosh, you know what? You're right. I'm going to remember that and I'll take that with me for life. So always remember that. It doesn't mean that you're always looking up to somebody because that's not what it's about.
Definitely. Great point.
That's it. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I like that. Very true.
It's important. It really is.
It is very important. Okay, guys. So look, jumping ahead, new step, right? So what happens when you are in the middle of like getting things done, right? You're building, you're working, and you have a lot of distractions around you, right? And so distractions, again, we talked about earlier, we talked about just life happening, friends calling, family calling, you have your kids, and not saying they're a distraction, but just things that you have going on in life because you're like a full-rounded person. Your business, sometimes when you really wanted to work and you're really pressing hard, especially in the beginning, your business can feel like it's everything, right? It can feel like it's all encompassing, but you have other components of your life that definitely does not, need your time. So, one way to do that, I know you guys already know this. I'm not telling you guys anything new. Again, I'm just restating some things that maybe you haven't heard this week or haven't heard lately. Turning off a lot of these notifications, right? Because sometimes you get on and like, okay, you know that you're going to go and you're going to post something on Facebook, or you're going to, load your tweets on Twitter or something like that. But then you get kind of sucked in to what everybody else is doing. And before you know it, you're looking at like wedding pictures from somebody that you didn't know got married 2 months ago, and you're engrossed in their destination wedding. And you're like, wait, I'm on here to actually do something for my business. How did I get so sidetracked? Right.
Right.
And so I would say, and especially even for like Periscope, now that all this live streaming stuff is happening, when you're sitting down to actually get something specific done in your business, cut off those notifications for, X amount of time, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, so that you actually can be productive. Because productivity, definitely, that's inspiring when you get something done, when you can check it off your list. That allows you to say, okay, great, done, tackled that. Let me move on to the next thing.
Yeah, there's like no way for you to feel neutral or blah, right? You feel accomplished. And you may feel tired, right? It doesn't take that away, but you feel tired.
Yep.
Yeah, because these days you can be on like 100% of the day. You can be on. And sometimes you do need to turn things off so that you can take care of the things that you have to take care of. So that's important.
Yeah, but you guys know that.
Yeah, Tora was just saying that her Scope notifications are still completely off since 2 weeks prior to the Scope summit.
Wow,
so
that is a good move.
Right?
Yeah,
smart move.
And I turn mine off during certain times of the day, and then I turn them back on when I'm giving Periscope my time. Because it just cannot be on all day long. So, again, you guys know this. Another thing to remember, and this is something that the three of us kind of live by, is those calendars, okay? And more specifically, your daily mode of operation. That's really, really key when you are, again, your goal is to stay motivated. And if you already know you can get distracted easily, or you know that you can kind of get in that space when you feel like you don't want to work, especially when you're not seeing results, that's kind of like the easiest time or where you can be like, I'm not going to do it, because you're not seeing anything immediately like paying off from it. If that's you, if that's the situation then you're in, we totally get it. But what you have to do is figure out what your day looks like and figure out in advance, what do I do as soon as I wake up? What does my midday look like? What does my evening look like? Do I take a time out where I know I'm going to cook dinner for my family, but then once, my kids go to bed and whatnot, I'm able to pick back up my business. In the mornings, do I go straight to Facebook and do I, post or respond to comments? And then do I shut down that tab and never look at it again until the next morning or until later? What does your daily mode of operation look like? So I would say if you guys can add to that, or if you have anything to add to it, but that's super important. And that's something that we do. The three of us actually do daily, and we do it weekly because we have to. We have a lot of balls up in the air and a lot of things going on. And so it's something that keeps us on track and it keeps us accountable. So anything to add?
I would just say, this is more of just like a personal level, right? We all keep ourselves really connected with our calendars. We have these routines. I think that we've all adapted all these tabs open is not beneficial for us. So the social media tabs, if I'm blogging, for example, I'm writing a blog post, I close out those social media tabs because I will get distracted, right? And sometimes I just get nosy or I get lazy and I just let my mind drift. So I do a good job of shutting off. But there are two other things that I do. Number one is I make sure that I shut off notifications at night. That's really important for me because it's all about like that restoration piece, right? Because at the end of the day, I feel like I've always put in a hard day's work, and it's always important for me to make sure that I shut things down at night and recharge. And then in the morning, I listen to something motivational, right? It's like my way of just getting myself going. And that's how I start off. Whether I feel like getting up or not, it's like I brush my teeth and I'm almost hitting, an audio at the same time, or a podcast, or I'm listening to one of our replays that I really liked. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready to get my head back in the game because it's like a daily thing.
Yeah, totally. No, I agree.
And then online games, that's really funny. I'm not a gamer and I actually don't ever play online games. And I live in New York City, right, where I'm seeing people literally commute day in, day out, and I'm on the train and I just see people like of all ages, like glued to their phone, the Candy Crush, all of this stuff. You said TED Talks. I'm that person who would be on the train listening to a TED Talk.
Yeah,
but I don't get sucked in with games or anything like that. We listen to like NPR 24/7, things like that.
And that's us because at heart, we've told you guys this before, like all of us are like super nerds about what we do. And also we're workaholics, right? And so that's in a good way, and so I don't know, I think it's probably because of our mother, right? Which is good and bad, but like she's always been a really driven woman. And that's just kind of the way we grew up. Like we always have a lot of fun, but it's kind of always been that work really hard, play really hard, So I don't know. It's like that stuff has never really tempted me, but like my books and, listening to the TED Talks and all that kind of stuff, like you said, like that's the kind of stuff that we'll probably do for fun or for like a distraction rather than a game.
Right.
There's different things.
I was going to say that. Yeah, really and truly, whether it's a game online or whether it's going out and looking at some interior design online or whatever.
I was going to say that, whether it's house or
whatever.
Apartment therapy.
Because whatever your thing is that can pull you away, it can pull you away and suck you in. So, it doesn't matter if it's games or if it's, whatever it is, it's very, very easy to do that. And I have to say, I'm a person who typically has a whole lot going on at one time during the course of every single day, whether it's my work-related stuff or whether it's my family things or whether it's my own personal stuff. And I am one who probably should practice more of turning those notifications off and really, really practicing those things hardcore. Have I done it? Yeah. Sometimes I'll do like, my phone will say, do you want to mute this for 3 hours? And I'll say, yeah, okay, mute it for 3 hours. But then in the back of my head, I'm wondering, okay, I wonder what's going on over here and over there. I am, I think, a very, very good multitasker. And so I can spend a little bit of time here and then jump over there and then come back to this and that. That's not always the most effective way to do things. And I do admit that, absolutely. So the distractions can absolutely be, real, true distractions. But at the end of the day, I am also that person who will say, I'll stay up till 2:00 a.m. to make sure that everything is crossed off of my list, because I am a list maker and I will cross those things off my list. And it means that I have to suffer to stay up till 2:00 and then get up again at 6:00 a.m. I will do that too. So
ding, 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 ding. That is exactly where I was going next. That exactly what you just said with, staying up until it's done. That was my next point, because the thing is, if you get off schedule or you get off track or whatnot, if you have that self accountability and you tell yourself that I have to get this done today, you have to really get it done, And I know that's one thing that, again, we all do well, and sometimes better than others. But, it's one thing that, like, me personally, it's almost like something that will nag me. And it's like, wait, I said I was going to get this done. I'll stay up until midnight or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 and just keep grinding it out just so I can check it off of my list.
Mm-hmm,
So,
mm-hmm.
If you have that, or at least tell yourself that that's what kind of person you're going to be in your business, you're going to be a get it done person, right? A person that's not going to sleep until that thing is done, because tomorrow, what's going to happen? It's going to start all over again, right? You're going to have a new list of things to do.
Exactly.
And who knows what's going to come down your road. So it's all about the recovery, right? So if you get messed up along the way, hopefully you recover well, right? So, okay, guys, here's another, and this is kind of like the finalish note that I really have for you guys is thinking about your reasons why. Okay. So if you have in your daily mode of operation, if you're saying that nothing will stop me between the hours of 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock, because that's the time of day where you actually work on your blog, or that's the time of day where you listen to your audios that are going to motivate, inspire, and teach you, right? Because that stuff is going to get you ready for your week ahead. If that's the time that you've slotted out, that means that when somebody else calls, like when Aria calls me and she's like, oh my gosh, I have to tell you about this experience. Guess who I just ran into at dinner, or guess who I just ran into on the train, right? That means that I have to have, enough self-control to say, hey, I really want to hear what you have to tell me, but can you tell me after 5 o'clock? Because between 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock is my time for this, X, Y, and Z, right? That's my blogging time. Or, if a friend calls or somebody wants, I have to do this a lot and you feel bad sometimes, but you can, that button on your phone when somebody calls. Have you noticed the button on the left, the one that says ignore? You're allowed to use that button. Okay. You can use the ignore button and don't feel bad about it. Okay. So if somebody is going to interrupt that time period, you have to have the self-control to say, nope, not happening. Right. And so the reason that's going to remind you that you can do that you have the power to shut some people out during specific times is your why. Okay. Your why. So if you cannot, avoid, or you cannot resist picking up that phone, or you cannot resist running away at the slightest distraction, then that might mean that your why is not strong enough, because it's not keeping you in front of what's, most important at that time.
It's not powerful enough to keep you focused, right?
Exactly. So maybe, and maybe this is like a good exercise for everybody to do just periodically, is remembering your why and writing that down,
Yeah.
And that kind of goes back to that first situation, right? It's like, okay, if you know situations that you don't want to be in again, if you say, hey, I don't want to ever experience being, this broke again, or I don't want to experience, being in a position where I have to go and report to a boss or ask for time off over and over again. If I don't want to be, working the kind of shift that doesn't give me time with my family, if those are all your reasons why, then that's going to actually keep you, really on track. So.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that oftentimes, sometimes you have to learn how and when to be selfish with yourself, because
with yourself.
Yeah, I mean, you really do, because at the end of the day, you have certain goals and certain things that you have to get done, whether it's, I said at the end of the day, the end of the week, the end of the month, the end of the year, whatever it is, you have to make sure that you have yourself covered. Never, of course, at the detriment of anybody else, but you got to make sure that you are able to take care of you, self, because, in doing so, that's what will allow you to do all of those other things that you may want to do at the end of your goal for other people. But you have to be able to keep yourself on track. So if that means that Dejan, you call me in the middle of the day to talk about something, and I say, you know what, don't want to hear it right now. And to be totally transparent, the way we operate amongst each other is that we all have our own agendas, but yet together we do have our agenda together as well. But we have no problem amongst the three of us, saying, hey, can't hear you right now. I do want to hear it, but I can't hear it right now. So therefore, you got to call me tonight at 7:00 because I've got this going on or that going on. Have no problem doing that. And in leading a team as well, I never have had an issue or a problem saying, you know what, that's important. I do want to hear what you have to say, but the timing isn't right. Take your calendar out. Let's see if we can set a time for that. So you have to know how and when to be selfish with your time, because it's your time. We all have the same amount of time. I mean, it sounds so cliche, but we all have 24 hours in a day. But my 24 hours is going to be spent very differently than yours or anybody else's. But when we have to come together, then we have to come together and agree on that time. And, you know, I've never had anyone saying, hey, you know, to people that I have supervised or managed, as well as people in my business, as well as my children, as well as my husband, every single relationship that you have to be able to know when you need time to do what you have to do. It's, you know.
Exactly.
I just want to say that, you know, recognizing that, you know, we're talking to this broad audience, and sometimes we never know who we're talking to on Blab, right? Because I can only see the faces that I can obviously see. But, you know, there might be somebody who's hearing this for the first time. You know, I think that sometimes as a team, we can get lost, and we've always been these pretty courageous women, right? I feel like I came out the birth canal courageous woman, right?
With certain things,
right? But
not everything.
Most, but that's my personality type, right?
Yeah,
I think
that's yours.
Recognizing that some people are really just like unleashing this idea that they can live life on their terms, that they don't have to subscribe to one certain model, that they don't have to, you know, live life like paint by the numbers. Some people are just kind of like breaking free of these mental barriers, that they can get creative with how they make their money, that there are options for them. And then when we say be unapologetic and drive forward, and really work your business on your terms, take your calls on your terms, set your life up the way you need it, that can seem like a lot.
You're right.
People. And, you know, I like when you said you're allowed to use that ignore button. I just couldn't help but think that I know I've met a lot of people who are like, I didn't realize I could do all of this. And so I just challenge people to be unapologetic, even if it's just for a season. So if you have to tell yourself, you know what, I'm going to try this thing called being selfish for myself for 6 months and see where it takes me. Maybe that's how you grow into it.
And like Mom said, just to mimic, selfish for yourself, not to the detriment of other people.
Because not at the expense of other people.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, we don't mean step and pound on people and say, you know, bam, what if you're in the way of me and my goals, I'm just, you know, squashing you out, because that is
definitely
not how we operate. You know, people are your greatest resource, you know, and relationships are everything.
But if you can't go to a baby shower, if you can't make it to a work event because you're trying to get out of that 9 to 5 and work your other business.
If you can't do happy hour, if you can't go shopping, or you have to skip a movie on a Saturday, or you're like, oh, but it's the weekend and I just want to relax and, you know, I deserve this. No, not really. If you want to get to a new point in life, or you want to achieve a certain level of success, then there is no, I deserve just this break or whatever, you know, get that kind of thinking out of the way. Right.
Yes and no.
I think that's what you're saying.
Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes and no.
You disagree? You disagree?
Well, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not disagreeing with you. Necessarily. Yes. I say yes and no because sometimes you do deserve that. You don't have to accomplish all of your goals on time, because sometimes you set yourself up for that, and you may be working your tail off, and so maybe you do deserve that happy hour. Maybe you do deserve that movie. But you don't deserve. You don't deserve
happy hour
every single day of the week. No.
Right. And here's the thing. It's not even about that. I feel like, again, when you want to do something, you can do it. What my point is not feeling obligated, because people say, hey, you know, you really should do this. So when you're driving something, you know, a lot of people definitely are people pleasers, right?
Yeah.
And when you're trying to work this business, you're like, okay, I need to be a pleaser of myself and of my goals, and I need to go back to understanding my why. And that has to be strong enough to allow me to say, you know what, I would love to catch up with you, but I can't right now. I can talk for 5 minutes on the phone as I do X, Y, and Z, but we got to be able to say, I have to prioritize and be selfless. Be selfish.
You know what it is? As a matter of fact, I did a little video on Facebook yesterday, And it was real short, just about self-confidence and having self-confidence. And that means being able to step into yourself, self-confidence to do whatever it is. You know, you may be trying to dig a ditch and I'm trying to build a bridge. Okay. So just having self-confidence to know that you can do that and not interrupt, you know, my schedule or your schedule or what my goals or your goals. Being able to be confident to know that whatever your goals are, that you can accomplish them. I've always been one to say that, you know, I may not be the smartest, you know, or the brightest or the best or whatever, but I've always been one to say that if somebody else can do something, then if I put myself in the place to do that same thing, then most likely I can do that as well. With the right training, the right school,
Right.
the right whatever it is that it takes. If your mind is set to want to do that, then you can probably accomplish it too. It may take more hours, it may take more smarts, it may take more whatever, more classes, more training, more dedication, more commitment, more discipline, whatever. But, you know, so
Right.
I just believe, I just innately believe that. And so I've always been one to say that if there's something I want, I'm going to go after it. I'm just going to flat go after
Right.
it. And I may bumble my way through it and I may never get it, but I'm darn sure going to go after it. So you've got to have a sense of self-confidence. And I know we started off, you know, talking about, you know, how to get out of that feeling of being blah. And so when I think of self-confidence, I think of that as well. You've got to be confident in who you are. Every single morning, I've always told you all, and I tell your little sister, get up with purpose. When you get up in the morning, set a purpose. What is your purpose today? Your purpose may be to sit around and watch movies all day long. That doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It's okay. Maybe you need that. But get up in the morning with purpose. Have purpose. What is your purpose? And in order to be able to do that and not feel that you're, you know, being, you know, looked upon badly by other people, you've got to have self-confidence to say, hey, this is what I chose and this is what I'm doing. And if it's okay with you, then it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
You get whatever you get from that, whether it's something good toward your goal or it's not. Maybe this isn't the day to march forward toward your goal. Maybe you've got other things that you've got to take care of that day. And it may just be to sit around and watch movies, and that's okay. But be confident in whatever you do. Sorry.
I totally
I'll
get
step
that.
off.
I'm going to remind you of that. I'm going to remind you of that during our next brainstorming session when we're all like cracking the whip on each other, being like, work, crank it out, you know? That's how we do
And I'll
it.
say, yeah, I'm going to watch a movie. Right. Yeah.
Right.
But
No,
it's
you
okay.
won't. But no. So yes, in all reality, great. Sometimes everybody needs a day off, whatever. You know, the point is, if you tell yourself that every single day and you have a big goal, you want to do something in your business, you have those business blues, whatever, you're being like, oh my gosh, I feel so blah, I don't know what else to do. Yet in the same breath, you'll sit there and tell yourself that you deserve happy hour, a movie, a manicure, and that happens for too long. I'm going to tell you, reality check, you know, check your priorities, go back and remember your why, and remember that you have things to do. So just don't let that last too long, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm a proponent of working until it's done, all right? So, okay, guys.
Yes.
So this is crazy. I feel like we're actually all in person because this is like what we do in person when we're
That's
you know,
good
trying to
dialogue,
brainstorm
though.
our mind.
It's good
Yeah,
dialogue.
no.
It is.
It definitely is. And we do believe in taking time off and vacations. And I will tell you that we do play really hard. And, you know, most likely, you know, when we're not, well, actually, when we are planning, we do this too. But like, if we're really just hanging out and don't have any agenda, which is very rare, you know, you'll find us someplace warm and someplace tropical. And
We vacation
you know,
a lot. We do.
yeah, we do. And we believe
But
in
we
that.
work.
See,
But
we
we
work,
also
exactly.
work on vacation. I mean, and when I say work, I mean, it's always a mental thing, if nothing else. We're always planning for that next, you know, or planning to do better in this area or that area. How can we tweak this? How can we make this better? We can be sitting on the beach, you know, or forget that.
With laptops.
Yeah, I mean, or even forget that.
We've done it.
We can literally be in the water, okay? And
Yeah.
that mind is always going. So what about this last week, or when you did that, or how about, you know, how do you want to do this going forward? You know, so
Exactly.
it can be done.
But you know, a lot of times too, like we call that a vacation. Really what that is for us is we plan times to reset. So sometimes we may go to like a vacation destination, or we may go to a getaway, and other people may call that a vacation. But for the three of us, if we're there, maybe, other members from our family might be there. Sometimes it may just be the three of us. We call that a reset. So we just choose to actually do it at a location. And then we do have other times where we're like, no, this is just chill mode. We're hanging out with family or friends, and we are going to just relax. And that's what we would consider a vacation. But sometimes we do have those tropical reset times where we're there just to brainstorm and relax.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, to brainstorm in a relaxing location. That's what I meant to say. So, okay, guys. So look, as you're typing, I also see that Albert Kaufman's saying that he looks forward to getting to know us better. And you're off to call your folks. You'll check back in. Awesome. Thank you for joining us again. Definitely appreciate that. And yeah, we'll see you next week for sure. So guys, wrapping it up. Last thing, this is what you want to do. Okay. Sometimes, like, I think Albert gave us a great link to look at, like a TED Talks. Aria was talking about how we like to kind of like throw ourselves in books and to other pieces of information. I talked about earlier how I listen to, my daily audios because it keeps me motivated and inspired. Do all of that so that you can actually gather that information, retain it, and then teach it. Okay. So if you're trying to get yourself out of that rut, you're trying to figure out what your next move is, go and teach something, do it, like we're on here having this blab session, that gets us motivated. So like, I can't do a whole blab and get all excited about like my business and talking to you guys and then just go and kind of like watch TV. It's not happening. All right. We already told you that's not how we operate anyway.
That's funny because I was just thinking, right? I can't even go watch a movie now. Oh my God. What am I going to do?
Yeah. But what I'm going to do is like, the fact is, I know that I had a blog post. In fact, I was supposed to release it yesterday and I didn't, I just had some final tweaks and I wanted to make some videos that went along with it. So when we get off of here, I'm actually going to go finish that, and I'm going to start, making up a broadcast to send to our list for tomorrow morning so they can read my latest blog post. So I have a lot of things that I know I need to get done with my business. And so if I'm up until 3 a.m. doing that, which I won't be, but if I'm up until that long, then so be it, right? Because I'm able to get things done. And why am I motivated? Why am I excited again? Because I led this blab tonight, and I was talking about motivation. I was, here with my sister and my mother, and we're doing activity, right? We're taking action. And so that action gives me momentum. Okay. So I guess all that to say that the cure for all of this blondness, the cure for the business blues is freaking take action. Okay.
I love it.
Take massive action. You have to. So
you do. I love it. I love it. I think that's great. But starting back to what you said initially, recognizing it. You've got to recognize it in order to be able to take massive action. So once you recognize it and you journal that, or you just mentally say, okay, this is the feeling I have, then you take that massive action to change that. Because, it's got to start with you because you're the one that's feeling it. And you can fake it all day long. You can go into your office and act like it doesn't exist, and it exists. And I know that most of us can relate to that. You know that you got to face the day, and most of us have to face people during that day. And you don't, generally want to greet people with that blah feeling. So you cover it up. You cover it up and you go through that day like that. So being able to recognize it and state it for what it is, and then like you said, that's a great note to end on. Take massive action when you recognize it's there, because that's life, right? You have it.
Let me say this is that idea of taking massive action. I think that as we talk about what beats the business blues, one of the things for me, I'm results driven, right? And so you'll see sometimes even when I just like hang back, it's because I'm just in my head, I'm listening, I'm absorbing, and I always just want to see results regardless of what I'm doing. But when we take massive action, for at least us, what it's meant is that like things start happening on autopilot. When you start to see positive things happen in your business because you took the massive action, when you like Dejan just said that she's going to email her list tomorrow. When you have a massive list
or a small list
of people that you can communicate with and things are going in the right, listen, that works too if they're communicating back, right?
Action.
And they're taking if they're taking action, right? So if you, but it, as that list grows, reality, you're like, I can't help but be excited, right? And so when you take massive action, some of this stuff starts like really working for your business, and you're like, I'm just excited to like check
Yeah,
my email account now, or I'm excited to check my bank account, or I'm excited to just get up and see what's next because things are happening all the time. And so once you do that, that
That's
is a
true.
great way to beat the blues
That's a good
when you
point,
see
Aria.
positive
That
things
is a
happening in your
very good point.
business.
When you start to see those things happen, that triggers some things, and it kind of takes you out of that slump. Yeah, because those are good things for
definitely.
sure. Hmm.
So, guys, what we're going to do, it's 9:09. Let's open up the hot seat just for a few minutes. If anybody wants to jump in and say, hey, if you have a question about anything, you're more than welcome. Let's try to end about 9:15, 9:16. So if you do have a pressing question or something that you want to say, it's open, it's a comfortable place, no pressure. If you end up with a question later on, you can tweet it to us, and we'll get back to you for sure. But most importantly, check out our blog, asideofchange.com. If you have not ever been on there with us before, you haven't checked it out, go learn more about us, right? It's full of tabs. It's like about us, contact us, work with us, all that good stuff. You can get to know who we are as people, how we work together, and, you know, most importantly to you, how we can help you, right? What tools and resources we can.
Why don't you throw up the link?
So yeah, it's asideofchange.com. It's across my screen also, right? So, Ria, you want to go ahead and type that, or somebody can type it in the comments. Asideofchange.com. And so what we're doing, anybody that joins the list tonight, anybody that gets their name, their pretty beautiful name on our list with their email address, tomorrow morning I'm sending out another personal code for your fascination report. Okay, we gave this away a couple of weeks ago. Some people tested it. Pretty cool thing. And again, I want people to get it because I want you to identify, you know, how you fascinate people. Okay, so the email that you'll get will explain it further. But basically, it's like a personality report flipped on its head. Okay, it's not the boring old kind that you've been used to taking at work. This is like a completely new report that's going to tell you exactly what you have inside you, like what you were born with that fascinates people, you know? And you can use that fascination to your advantage to get people to work with you in business, to sell them products, to teach people things, whatever you want to do. But you're going to use all the tools that you already have inside of you to create that fascination. So you're going to be able to get that report, and you're going to get a special code so you can go in there and take the report, keep the results. But you're only going to get it if you join the list tonight. So that's that.
Awesome.
If you're already on it, cool.
It is awesome. It's an awesome report for anybody who has not done it. Coming from an HR professional, it is the Myers-Briggs times 150 on steroids for sure. So you will get a lot out of that report.
Definitely. All right, guys. So with that being said, we're going to say good night. Nobody jumped into the hot seat. So I'm going to guess that you're good. Hopefully you're feeling motivated. Go out there, make some action, do something in your business. And most importantly, create that mode of that daily mode of operation. Okay. If you don't have one, make one tonight so that you're going to know exactly what you're going to do tomorrow morning when you wake up. So,
All right.
good night, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, guys.